there had better be a hell of a making of on this Blu-ray when this film eventually gets released. Good evening, Mr. Bond fans, and welcome once again to a video that I never thought I would have to make. Yeah, if you're watching this, you've probably already heard the news that the 25th Bond film, No Time to Die, has had its release date pushed back from April 2020 to November 2020. This was announced around about 5 p.m. UK time on the various James Bond social media pages, so I'm going to read their statement from their Facebook page. MGM, Universal, and Bond producers Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli announced today that after careful consideration and thorough evaluation of the global theatrical marketplace, the release of No Time to Die will be postponed until November 2020. The film will be released in the UK on November 12th, 2020, with worldwide release dates to follow, including the US launch on November 25th, 2020. And I love that if you scroll right up, their pinned post is, the first trailer for No Time to Die is here, in cinemas, April 2020. Better get that changed. So yeah, obviously this news is not good, to put it mildly, to someone like me, and to probably many of you who are watching this. I don't know about how any of you found out about this news. I was at work, I was finishing up for the day, and I just left my desk for a couple of minutes to pop to the loo for a pee. And as I came back to the area of the office where I am, a bunch of my work colleagues were sort of like, one of them was stood up, sort of like had his hands like that, and a couple of them sort of like had looks on their faces, and I was like, what? They're all looking at me like, what? And they're like, someone should tell him. Someone should really tell him. And no one's sort of saying anything for a good few seconds. And going through my mind, like the first thing that came to my mind was like, shit, we've all been fired. And then I was like, no, wait a minute, if we were all fired, they would definitely tell me that. What's something else? And then the next thing that came to my mind was, oh my god, they postponed the Bond film. And I actually said that. I said, they postponed James Bond. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, I've never had quite, even when relatives of mine have died, I've not had quite so many people console me over something like my work colleagues when breaking the news to me that No Time to Die was going to be coming out 6 months later than originally anticipated. May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Oh crap, that's 7 months. Obviously this is a response to the coronavirus, which I'm not sure if it's at pandemic level yet, but obviously there are certain countries that have had some degree of lockdown, of shutdown. I believe that cinemas in China are closed, a lot of public spaces in Italy are closed, South Korea, Japan. So obviously, with the film due to release in a month's time, if it couldn't release in as big a territory as China, for example, the film's box office would obviously suffer. And then for the rest of the world, obviously, even in other countries, if you don't have any kind of lockdown on public spaces, there might still be some kind of consumer hesitation. Are people really going to want to go to a cinema, a packed cinema, and risk catching this virus, for example? So it is obviously a money-based decision. Obviously, some accountants somewhere decided that, you know what, actually, it's better to just cancel all of the release stuff that is going on this next month and just postpone all of that to November. I guess someone thought that that would be a more lucrative move, which is quite astonishing. I already had, like, 2 screening tickets booked, which, I mean, I can't really complain too much about that. I will be getting refunds for my tickets, obviously. I feel bad for the Bond fans, and I knew quite a few of them. David Zaritsky, Joe Darlington, and Dutch Bond Fan, just to name 3 of the people who were going to be coming over to London. I'm lucky I live in London. I didn't have to do any extra kind of travelling to be in the hub when the release happened. But, you know, there were events being planned and everything, and I feel kind of bad for a lot of people who might have been making special travel arrangements. Even in the UK, I know a lot of people were still planning to come to London, see some Bond sites, meet up with friends, have some group, drinks, all that kind of stuff. And I do feel bad for those people who are going to have their plans affected. And obviously that's me thinking on a very personal level to individuals. Obviously this is a global release, this is a global film, and they're not going to just keep the film on its release date because, Calvin has some friends that, are coming over. And it's obvious that no one is happy about this. Like, no one, was, like, rubbing their hands together and very, like, Barbara Broccoli didn't leap out of bed one morning and have a sudden, desire to, I really wish I had an excuse to postpone the release of this film. That didn't happen. Obviously, the people involved with the film would rather it come out. It's, like, pretty much done, I'm assuming, with a month to go. And I can't imagine that there'll be much more editing or tinkering or the like up until the release. It will have been more or less completed by this time, I'm assuming. So that is an important thing to bear in mind, obviously, as bad as this may feel from a fan perspective. Obviously, the people involved in the film who want to get their work out there and get all the publicity done, all the promotional stuff done and out of the way, they have to push that back for a good few months as well. So it is just kind of a situation that no one is happy with. No one is happy that this virus has spread around the globe and is causing all these problems and panic and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to go into I'm not a medical expert. I don't know, like, how... for all I know, 3 weeks might go by and we won't see anything about coronavirus in the news again, and that'll be kind of it, and we'll all be saying, like, oh, well, why the hell didn't they just release it? Everyone's going to the cinema anyway. Equally, it might go on for months and become a real big problem, and a load of people, including me or you, might get it and have to sort of, deal with it. So I'm not a medical expert. I just go by what I read in the news, which is obviously a lot of panicked, frenzy and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, it's a crappy situation. Everyone is obviously not going to be happy about this. So we just have to kind of deal with it. Calculations will have gone into the decision behind this as well. I mentioned accountants. Obviously, this is primarily a money-based decision. Someone has decided that this film will make more money if they push it to that date than if they, leave it in its current date, which is saying something considering, cinemas released their you could buy tickets. All that stuff is going to have to be refunded. Cinemas might not be terribly happy about this. And, fans are not going to be happy either. It's tough. Hype is kind of when something is coming out that you're really excited in. It's kind of like a roller coaster where you get on it. You're sold anyway. I'm gonna go and see this film anyway, so I'm on board this roller coaster. And you do a few like little loops and downs and ups and stuff when like little things like teaser posters and cast details and all that kind of stuff is released. And then I feel like since December, since that first proper full trailer came out, we were all on this like roller coaster cart and we're going up. We're going up to like the big dip. Like the selling point of the roller coaster is to get to the top and watch the film and go on a fantastic ride. And it's tough because obviously now we're all deflated. We are all probably stuck on that roller coaster kind of wondering what the hell is going on. And I just hope for the sake of the film it can recapture some of this, some of the hype, quite frankly. I was seeing a lot about it in the news and all this kind of stuff, and who knows, maybe even pushing it back until November is going to build up anticipation even more. Maybe this is just great extra publicity for the film, and it's going to be released in November and kind of knock us all out. It's just sad. Like, I think obviously everyone's going to be kind of raw for a few days on this, and maybe somewhere down the line, God, someone needs to write a book about the production history of this film. It's insane, the amount of, what is this? Is this like the fourth or fifth different release date we've had? Like a full year on from when it was originally going to be released as well. It's just, I don't think I'll be entirely satisfied that I'm going to actually see the whole film until the credits are rolling at the end, until I see James Bond will return in those credits at the end of the film. I don't think I'm going to believe that I will have even seen it. So maybe they'll give us a Bond game in the meanwhile to keep us happy. Who knows? Maybe they can get one of those in development and release that in time for the film's release. So yeah, that's that. That was kind of my take on this. Anyway, please do let me know in the comment section below. I guess if I had to take a position on this, I guess that I know that a lot of people are probably going to be feeling very upset I know that my favorite filmmaker is Alfred Hitchcock. One of his sayings was, "It's only a movie," and yes, it is only a movie. And to a lot of people, to say that you are upset, use that kind of word about a film's release, they might think you're silly or whatever. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel it in my gut. Like, when the news was broke to me at work, I did feel like a physical reaction to this news. So I don't think it's silly to be upset by such a thing. I think it's silly to sort of go on angry tirades at people, or like I say, no one is happy about this. So we just kind of all need to deal with that, sadness. And, eventually we will have a film. We will have a new Bond film. And, until then, let me know in the comments section below how you guys are feeling about this. Try not to be too down about it, I guess, is my advice, even though that might not necessarily be of much comfort to a lot of you who, are having to look into rebooking arrangements, travel things, refunds, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, do let me know in the comments section below. I'd actually be quite curious to know when you first heard this news. I always think it's interesting to sort of, when big news, like I think this is, breaks, it's, you kind of remember where you were. I'm going to remember my work colleagues all acting like, I just lost a relative or something, consoling me. It was quite cute. But anyway, let me know in the comments section below. And until next time, Bond fans, so long for now.